Benet's Bloody Bits.
Hi, my name is Jason Benet, and welcome to Benet's Bloody Bits. Today we're going to discuss Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors, which began in 1985. It was the merger of Fangoria and Creation Entertainment to do the convention scene, which they hadn't done before. And they put out a VHS tape shortly afterwards, and it captured some of the moments from a 1986 show in Southern California. And it was cool because you got to see Toby Hooper wearing an Invaders from Mars jacket, John Carl Buechler promoting Trolls, Steve Miner talking House, Elvira was there, super fan and journalist and long missed Chaz Ballin was also there. And it was basically Fangoria in 3D and bringing fans, closer to their idols and making a show where you have panels talking about the new films, dealer's room selling movies and posters. And it was just this interactive experience that was amazing. And for some reason, at one point in time, I owned every issue of Fangoria magazine. And it took me forever to do a convention. I'm not sure why. I just was slacking. And I missed out on quite a few things besides the show I mentioned in the early 90s. Jack Nicholson showed up to promote Wolf, Kenneth Branagh, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And finally, in 1999, I got my butt to a show in Pasadena, and it was special. You had Robert Forster talking about his entire career. Rennie Harlan was there with Deep Blue Sea, and I remember they showed the trailer for the film and went over like gangbusters. He took the stage like a rock star. Warner Brothers set him up with 27 by 40 posters and Deep Blue Sea shirts. They were completely blue with the white letters of Deep Blue Sea. And that was normal. That was free. When the panel was over, they went over to a table and they wanted you to see their movie. And that's something that the editor at the time, he was there for many years, Tony Timpone, he was the master of ceremonies. He was the one that was the coordinator that would host the panels. So whatever film that was coming out at the time that was significant, they were there. That whole early 2000s Dark Castle, 13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill, House of Wax, there was somebody there. Seed of Chucky, there was Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly, and Freddy versus Jason, that was the thing. And it was really something it's hard to describe. It puts you on this high that you didn't want to leave. You just kind of wanted to stay in this atmosphere where you were around your people. And it can't be reduplicated. It's something that other conventions have tried, and the format's not the same. I felt like for me, I would always buy like the gold pass. That was the selling point. You get seats like in the first 10 rows, so you had a good view to record people. You got first priority to go in line and get an autograph and all that. And they kind of got away from it. Photos used to be free for the people that were on stage when they went off to the side. I remember Eli Roth was there for Hostel Part 2. You went off to talk to him. They signed some 11 by 17 posters. That was free. That was kind of part of, the experience. And somewhere along the way, Creation Entertainment came up with photo ops, which was in a separate area. So on top of your parking and your ticket to get in, you had to pay something else. Now, if you were big on pictures like I was, you did it. I remember getting a photo with Clive Barker, and I forget the price, but it's worth it. It's Clive. But really much effort wasn't put in to the background. It was just like blue sky. And he and I looked like we were going to the prom together. And I felt like they were straying away from what made the show magical. And somewhere along the way, Fangoria and Creation split. I don't know the facts of it. Creation has been around since 1971. They continued to do a couple horror conventions afterwards, they were called Days of Darkness, and they were pretty good. I went to them, but that went away, and now they focus on like Vampire Diaries and Xena, Star Trek, and Supernatural. So they're still doing very well. But Fangoria, the convention, they don't do it anymore. Monsterpalooza kind of has replaced them, but that's more like a trade show. It doesn't have that same vibe. It's a lot of makeup demos, and that's, and they have like a maze, and that's also very nice. It just is missing the atmosphere of like a Rob Zombie who we go to the FangoCon to talk about Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, and William Friedkin and Linda Blair were there in 2000 to talk about the re-release of The Exorcist. Chaz Ballin would have a table right next to Rotten Cotton, and just all these worlds colliding, everybody in the same place, breathing the same air. I can't describe it. I guess Comic-Con for horror would be the best way to describe the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors. I still have a lot of swag that you would walk in and there would be tables of buttons and posters and stickers and a free bag, and you would just, like a buffet line, walk through and just start putting things away, and just, so the show starts and you've already felt like you won and you have these great memories. I haven't been to a horror convention of any kind in about 7 years. I kind of tapped out. I feel like that magic or lightning in a bottle is not there for me. That's kind of a cynical attitude to have. I guess after 18 years of going to conventions, that kind of happens. I still live through other people's videos, and I watch people go to cons, and I'm happy to see others are feeling what I used to feel. I would love to see Fangoria bring them back in some form. I mean, they used to do them in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, sometimes 3 in 1 year. These were a big deal, and they just stopped for some reason. And hopefully Fangoria is listening. I think it's missed, and horror is hotter than ever. I think fandom now with, look at The Walking Dead, or, the Screamcast are doing all these shows, and just droves of people are lined up. And that's probably more people than the shows I went to, even though I feel like the ones I attended were higher quality. But horror has grown so much in the last 25, 30 years. I really think it has to do with girl power. I mean, there's always been female fans of the genre, but I really feel like Scream On, they have really carried horror, and they're just as much into it as we are, buying films, going to conventions, on they're YouTubers and doing all these things too. I think that's a missed opportunity to bring back Fangoria Weekend of Horrors. They would be attended very well. I think fans would be in for something, a special treat. And I don't know who we need to talk to. Whoever the new owners are, Fangoria has changed ownership quite a bit in the last 10 to 15 years, but I don't think they even need creation at this point. I just think they need to talk to somebody, go to Burbank, Pasadena, Los Angeles, the locations they used to go to, and put on a show and promote it. Fangoria's social media presence is huge. The magazine has moved on. It's more like a graphic novel. It's thick. It's, they still do well in subscriptions. So I don't know what's keeping them from coming back, but hopefully they're listening, because I really would one day like to do a show again. I need something that's going to get me out of my house. And I think Fangoria's Weekends of Horror would do that. If anybody has ever attended one, or any convention for that much, and you have good memories, go ahead and comment below. Talk about it. I'd like to hear what you have to say. And thank you for listening, and stay scared.